Hello and welcome to WION's exclusive interview with Devashish Handa, Executive Vice President for Sales, Marketing and After Sales at Suzuki Motorcycles India. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me over.
Right. So, the Indian two-wheeler industry as a whole has seen good progress over the recent years. What is your outlook for that now?
Yeah, so the industry has been experiencing not as robust a recovery post-COVID as we have observed on the other side of the automotive sector, which is commercial vehicles, or with automobiles, that is the four-wheeler passenger vehicles. It has been relatively muted, but yes, recovery all the same. Last year was good. It was about 13% plus compared to 22-23. This year when we started, and I recall we were at the CM convention and people were normally saying less than double digit, a little more conservative, etc. But the April seems to have started well, and the last quarter also has been good. So let's see how it progresses. It's still early in the financial year to actually do any crystal ball gazing at this stage.
Right.
But yes, the industry is optimistic.
What factors do you think are driving this?
So one factor which is very clearly out in the open in the media also and spoken about is the resurgence of rural consumption, which was also one factor which was recognized as the factor which was muting or subduing the demand over the last 1 or 2 years. Our sense is that probably the consumer now has reconciled to sharp cost and price increases that happened, that started happening right from 1920, just before the COVID, with regulatory changes, braking systems coming up, right, ABS, CBS, jacking up the cost and therefore the price to the consumers. And then of course COVID, and as a consequence of COVID, the semiconductor crisis again, and all kind of supply chain disruptions taking it up. But it has been there for a while. Now it seems that it is stabilizing and the consumer is getting used to a slightly higher price points. It is also supported by disposable incomes going up. India has been doing very well. We all know the figures. GDP is supposed to be, they say, should close at 7% or 7% plus. So these are all healthy signs.
Right. Rising fuel costs is a big factor for consumers. So what strategy is Suzuki looking at?
So in fact, I have a slightly different take on this. If you see data, at least in our category, our industry, the two-wheelers, there is a shift from what is called conventionally commuter or the mass end products, whether it is motorcycles, scooters, and there is a shift gradually towards slightly more value-added products, which comes at a slightly higher price also, right? And growth has happened. But if you see, there is, whether it is motorcycles or whether it is scooters, there is a distinct shift upwards in the value chain. So it does not give us a logical interpretation that fuel costs have been a big concern, etc. My sense is that probably the disposable income going up has more than offset such aspects, and the youth, and it's an aspirational buyer today. Indian buyer profile is very young compared to anywhere else in the country, and much more aspirational than anywhere else also. So that kinds of explains the kind of a trend towards more premium products, slightly premiumish products, more value-added products, I must say, actually would be more appropriate.
So based on what you said, what value add are you talking about? I mean, is it the aesthetics, designs,
so people are
power?
looking at, our understanding is that functionality cannot be compromised.
Sure.
The basic purpose for which a two-wheeler is bought, things like comfort, ergonomics, rider ergonomics, handling of the vehicle, what we say, banking and stuff like that. That of course remains center stage, but what value add that has come to the fore over the last few years has been the connectivity features, right. So everybody would want the, we have, for example, the Suzuki Ride Connect. So they are connected era. So the, some small telematics, turn by turn navigation rides, right, linked to their smartphones, right. Call alerts and stuff like that. So these are features which are add-ons, right, which there is a trend towards. Higher end features also are in demand in terms of performance. So there is a trend towards higher performance two-wheelers.
So usually two-wheelers are market segmented and there are certain hotspots, right? So what is Suzuki's hotspots? What is your idea beyond that as well?
Okay, so for us, fortunately for us, we have been doing better than the industry at large, and thanks to our sales team, thanks to our dealer network, a very good effort put in by all stakeholders. We have experienced an upswing nearly everywhere across, but traditionally our volumes have been stronger from south and west of the country, and then from east and north. Over the last 1 year especially, there is a lot of concerted effort to scale up our operations in the north and east of the country as well. Then a lot of work is being done in terms of ensuring better penetration,
sure,
and better representation, both quantitatively and qualitatively, to I would not say correct, but better the skew that we face. All organizations face that. All businesses have some skew, geographical skew or the other. This is ours, and we are on it to have a more balanced kind of an representation.
Right. So there is a general shift towards electric vehicles, especially two-wheelers as well. It is gaining traction in India. So how do you see this segment, and how do you see yourself play or penetrate this segment, if at all? Are there plans, or what are your?
Electric, like the government also says, and there's a popular opinion now, has been gaining traction, especially two-wheelers has been faster, and within two-wheelers, scooters, right? So about 5% plus has been the penetration, if I recall my figures right, overall two-wheelers, and it's close to 16% for the last year when it comes to scooters alone.
Right.
Scooter lend itself better, right, for various reasons. Motorcycle side has been very marginal, negligible, but it is more on the scooter side, and we believe that it is here to stay. Yes, it is also a fact that it is an outcome of a very strong incentivization and push by the administration and the government. Policy. There has been a very strong policy push, and which is now kind of, in the last quarter we have seen government hold back a little also on that, which is understandable, because their stated position is that probably the tipping point or the inflection point has reached, and now the consumer sentiment itself should take it forward. And that is what is our take also, that it would be a consumer sentiment which would take it forward, and in the times to come we would see a multi-fuel drivetrain, powertrain kind of a scenario emerging. That's how it feels as of now.
Right. So what is Suzuki's strategy in this segment?
Yeah, so
what are you looking at?
We are seriously considering this space. It would not be improper for me to say that our parent organization SMC has already declared its publicly its plans on the EV side, and so we will even here actively considering space, although it would be premature on my part to hazard a guess on the commercial phase right now, but yes, we are very actively working on this.
Right. Just going beyond a little bit, and how do you see two-wheeler market as such over the next, say, 5 years in India?
See, in our country, the base of the pyramid, you know, is so large.
Sure.
And with improvement, general improvement in economy and disposable incomes, two-wheeler is a personal product of natural need and want. So we see a very healthy future. India already is probably the biggest two-wheeler market in the world, and
Yes, it is.
Our sense is that it will continue to be so for a while, given the fact that it is a young, upwardly mobile, and not only in terms of psychographics, but also in terms of demographics. That is more important. In demographic profile, upwardly mobile population, and a very large population. So this momentum is likely to continue. India is likely to be in this kind, have this kind of a scale of operations in the two-wheeler space, and we are very positive and bullish about it.
So now coming back to, we're seeing heat waves, we've seen a lot of changes in the climate. How do you see this impacting the motorcycle market, specifically because of the weather, right?
Absolutely. So climate change is for real. We all
Right.
know it is there. In the short term, if we have to go by the numbers that have come forth, I don't see it impacting. April has been good, as I said. In the short term, it's difficult to assess whether it has a very strong correlation at this point in time.
Bro.
But as an environmental concern, sure, it is something which one has to be cognizant of. And as a responsible corporate, we would like to do whatever is possible in a very responsible manner to address that also. Right, like all corporate, and especially in the mobility space, people who have businesses who contribute to this sector are actively working towards reducing carbon footprint, for example, and Suzuki is taking very strong measures globally and also in India in that direction.
Fantastic. So now we've spoken about business. I want to talk a little bit about you. So how was your campus? How was your life in campus? Let's go back.
Oh, life on campus was like life on campus is carefree and star in the eyes, and yeah, so a lot of nostalgia. When you look back now, you realize that quite a few things one has to relearn as time goes by, and whether it is business or whether it is management per se, is not static. It's a contextual concept.
Sure.
And context changes, and one needs to adapt, align to changing times. Different strokes for different times, like different strokes for different folks. You have, you need to align with time also. It's very different for how it was done when we graduated. People my generation graduated, it was 90s, mid 90s, early 90s, and we have seen the technology taking over. I am still a person who, when he graduated, India was still on pen and paper. And so we've seen the entire shift happening, and we passed out, the shift started, right? And I still remember those days of Lotus spreadsheets and Harvard printed graphics and very rudimentary things. Today today's generation, the millennials or Gen Zs will call it Dino era. Right? So, but yes, we have seen the entire transition from virtually nothing to where we are, where nearly everything from how we conduct business on a day-to-day basis to how we conduct personal life, how we communicate, everything is digitized. Yeah, so that is a big change. But yes, it's still personally, I still long for the year.
Of course, we all do, don't we? Right. So, was there a point post-college or when you started your career that made you, that you are here today, you know? Was there an inflection point in your life or a learning or something that you can throw light on for viewers, you know?
It would be presumptuous for me to say that. I would only say that I put in whatever best I could, brought whatever best I could to the table, and I would like to believe that organizations where I worked contributed a lot to my professional development, and
Right.
that is primarily the reason what has made me whatever little I am worthy of. Not that I would say that there are people who are much more accomplished than I am, but whatever little I have been able to do individually, a large reason for that goes to the leaders I have worked with, the organizations and the ecosystem they provided, and the leadership that I got and the learnings and the mentoring that. So what is very important for a young person stepping out of campus and getting into the business world is what we colloquially say luck, is not luck as much as how much he is willing to learn and how much he is willing to get mentored.
Sure.
Acceptance, I believe, is something that I have tried to learn, and accepting opinion, not your own, but those of people whose work you impact, is probably something that was a learning long back given to me when I just started off, and it has stayed in my head for a very long time now. I hope I have been able to do something good, something worthwhile with that.
So when Devashish is not thinking about strategy for sales, marketing or after sales, what does he do?
Well, now what I do now, last few years, is spend time with family. It has been a long career, and like any professional in my kind of an occupation, family is something which we do trade off, right, for being able to do as well as we would like to. So now a stage has come where whatever little time I can eke out of my workspace, I try to spend with family, and leisure travel, but travel now with family is something that I look forward to. I don't get very many opportunities to do that, but whenever I would, for example, we would have our summer shutdown now, and I am eagerly looking forward to traveling and spending some good quality time.
Nice. I read somewhere that sports was also something that interested you.
Sports.
Yeah. So what did you?
So sports interests, more than seeing now. Student days and just out of college, that was a time when there was a lot of watching also, but I don't, for example, I was an avid G.R. Vishwanath fan when I was growing up as a kid in school. That kind of phenomena is not there anymore. I don't follow these things very actively now. I played also quite a bit. Probably barring golf, I have tried my hand at nearly every sport.
Right.
Right.
Why not golf?
Of all kinds.
Why not golf?
Never got an opportunity, honestly. Never got an opportunity, and when I was actively playing, I found it very slow, and opportunities were also limited with my kind of work where I was moving from one place to the other. So practicability was also probably one reason. But I have, amongst the sports that I have played a little more has been things like in team games, it has been hockey and cricket, and amongst individual sports, it has been more squash in my earlier days.
Nice.
Yeah, a little bit of badminton as well, but not too much now.
Well, thank you for your time, Devashish.
Thanks so much, Rahul. Thanks for having me over. It was a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.